I have received 2 questions from Owen. And here is the first one. In this question, he is asking about attachments and expectations, saying that they're, according to the sutras, they're a cause of suffering, and that is also his experience. Attachments to a past event, expectations of an outcome. And then he says that when sitting in meditation, we are present. Present, past and future is dropped. Attachment and expectations are dropped. And suffering ceases. But he says that, however, his dharma is not to sit in meditation all day. In his work and relationships, his calling, there are actions that he has to take. Often actions based on past experience. And I find myself trying to achieve an expected result. And in that way I'm open again to suffering. How to deal with this? Is it possible to be in a meditative state when we're planning and taking actions and going on with our daily activities? So it's a good question, Owen. And yes, I would also agree, attachments and expectations create much suffering. And as you say, your dharma, and also the dharma of many others, myself included, is not to sit in meditation all day. There is much to be done on this planet, and some of us are here to do and to teach. And all of this can be done with or without attachment. And you ask a sensible question here. Is it possible to be in a meditative state when we're planning and taking action? Well, first of all, let's just look. What does being in a meditative state mean? I would suggest it's bringing the beingness into the doing. And you've probably heard me speak of this before. You see, being in the meditative state doesn't necessarily mean sitting with your eyes closed, chanting Om, witnessing the breath. You cannot be doing that while you're acting in the world, performing your dharma. So let's just have a look. What is the meditative state really about? I would suggest it's about falling into the witnessing state, becoming more and more the witness. And this will strengthen your ability to be the witness in meditation, and then you will be able to take it with you into the world. So it's not about running around with your eyes closed, chanting Om, witnessing the breath. And I don't for one moment suggest that's what you're implying. But I'd say it's about becoming more and more of the witness, no matter what you are faced with in life. Let's imagine that your mission, your calling, is to be a doctor or a nurse in a war zone. And at the same time, you're a meditator and a seeker. You may be becoming more and more the witness during your meditation, your daily meditation. And if this is the case, what will happen will be that in the situation you find yourself in, when you're performing your work, you will feel that you are more and more in life. It's like in the world but not of it. You're performing, you're fulfilling your mission, your dharma, but at the same time there's a part of you that is beyond all of that. And when you can be in the world in this way, it will give you a much greater overview of the situation you find yourself in. Now, if you're in a war zone, it doesn't mean a bullet won't hit you or a bomb won't fall on you. But when you are in a witnessing state, it's like you embrace a whole lot more of what we call the now. You embrace a whole lot more of it than you would if you were in the thinking mind or totally lost in some kind of activity. So there would be a calmness in you. You would have an overview and probably have the ability to take decisions more clearly and more quickly. And probably you wouldn't be pulled emotionally into what you're dealing with. Your emotions would be touched because of what you're seeing and experiencing. But you would have this kind of overview that we could also describe as detachment and the ability to respond, but not to react emotionally, but simply to respond to the situation. I'm sure you have often heard me say, Owen, that people ask me if meditation is important. Do I have to be a meditator in order to awaken to my true nature? And as I always say, there's no rules. But my experience is that for most people, having a meditative practice is extremely useful, actually necessary, because it gives space and time for the person to practice being the witness. And then when faced with situations in life that can disturb or shake one, you might lose the ability to witness for a moment, but can quickly come back to it. I call it training your witness muscles. If you train them in your meditative practice, then that training will be there for you as you move through life. And you won't get so easily pulled into the drama and thrown off balance. So many people are on a spiritual pathway today, and some are teaching others. Some have already realized their true nature, and yet still involved in life. I would say that's probably because of the situation we're in on this planet right now. We're facing challenging times. And we need people who are spiritually awake, who can act for the good of the whole, and not have to put their selfish desires and so on before everything else. And in difficult circumstances, if you really have become the witness in meditation, that witnessing, the detachment, it won't leave you totally, no matter what you're faced with. You might feel your emotions being stirred up sometimes. There can be a feeling of fear, anxiety, anger, but these feelings can all be held in that field of knowing. And another important thing to remember about emotions is that emotional energy moves in waves. And as you know, waves go up and down. And in life we see somebody is happy one moment, sad the next, angry the next. And to be able to move beyond these emotional waves, you have to learn to witness when life is exciting and when things are really going your way. It's no good just trying to witness things you don't like and, hope they will go away because you're witnessing. You have to remember to witness when you're really enjoying life, when everything seems to be going your way. You might have won the lottery. Or perhaps the most beautiful woman or man in the world has fallen in love with you. At times like this, it's also part of your sadhana, your spiritual practice, to remember to witness, to remember this too will pass. If you get caught up in the wave when the wave is going up, you're going to get caught in the wave when it goes down again. When you sit in meditation, you practice remembering that everything that arises and there's nothing that must not arise within you, but you remember that anything that arises and falls away again is not who you truly are, and you don't let yourself get pulled into that which comes and goes. I'm sure you've heard me say, if you're sitting in a meditation retreat and you start thinking how blissful you are, or how close you must be to awakening, you're caught up in the movie again, the movies of the mind. So you have to remember that even the so-called good things that come and go, that's not your true nature. So if you practice detachment and the ability to witness in meditation, this detachment will not leave you when you're faced with very difficult circumstances. You may seem to lose awareness for a while, but it will be still there waiting for you when you remember again. And I would say to people, respect your meditative practice. Stay with it. It's precious. And it will strengthen your witness muscles. This will serve you when you are performing your dharma out in the world. Okay? Thank you for the question.